Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, the Ultimatum Season 3 reunion is the gift that keeps on giving. At least if you put toxic drama on your Christmas list. Cause this one was, in my opinion, actually the most interesting part of the whole season. Has nothing to do with Nick and Vanessa, sorry, but these couples came out like it's Rocky, $1 Million Baby sending jabs and uppercuts at each other going for the KO, but instead of winning prize money at the end of it, they just get more depressed. And I won't lie, I went into this half-heartedly thinking, oh, I wonder if anyone hooked up after the show, or if the engaged couples are still together. I was not expecting everyone to look so angry and the heat to come instantly. Cause right away we learn that Caleb and Mariah are still together and planning a 2026 wedding with stuff already booked, and then bam, in comes Arya with an uppercut on Caleb.
But were you not looking at my stories, liking my stories?
And I also watched Zena's stories.
And liking?
And I looked at
and
Zena's.
liking? I don't believe you at all.
Okay.
I think you're capping right now. Like you're giving off mixed signals if you're engaged and happy.
Dang, I barely sat down and the fire is already coming out. So Arya calls Caleb fake and says he wasn't honest with Mariah, even though Caleb and Mariah were talking every night for 2 hours during his trial marriage with Arya. Meanwhile, Mariah breaks down because all of this emotional connection stuff with Arya was news to her. She had to find out watching the show. But I feel like I need to pump the brakes here, cause was it me or did it seem really platonic with Caleb and Arya? Like, they said they had an emotional connection, but that doesn't always mean romantic, right? And honestly, I find it weirder that she screenshotted Caleb viewing her stories than it is that he actually viewed them. Also, if it's true he was talking to Mariah for 2 hours every night during the first trial marriage, I mean, girl, come on. Anyway, here's the update on Arya and Scotty.
But we're not engaged anymore. And,
Yeah, now things are making a lot more sense. So Arya says she realized it was going way too fast and they continued to have conflict, so she ended it.
When did you break off the engagement?
a day later.
A day? A day? I'm somehow both shocked and not surprised at the same time. But honestly, thank goodness, this is for the best. That man was so harsh and his accusations were almost always hypocritical. Like even here he says they went to therapy but it was always on her time and she's just saying no. She constantly had to ask this man to say he's sorry because he can't take accountability. And at the end of the day, she was exhausted. Plus on top of all this, her grandma passed away and she also shares this upsetting news.
So that was really hard and I ended up having a miscarriage. So it's just a lot of emotionally, like, I'm not just giving up on the relationship because I don't care.
Essentially though, he says he tried so hard and it's like she gave up on him. She says she was so tired and emotionally exhausted. I say let this lie and never look back. But from here we then move on to the next train wreck with Zena and JR. And JR is not having it when Zena makes it very clear she's happy to be put on the opposite side of the stage of him.
We put you guys on polar opposites of the couch.
Great.
So, JR, what's happened with you guys?
So as we start to sift through this mess, it becomes apparent that these two both had very different ideas of what their relationship was after the show. She says they were more than nothing as they spent Christmas together. He says they didn't, but then he backtracks on that and says they did, but they didn't get gifts. And she says, well, she did get him a gift, then he got one for her 3 days later cause he felt guilty.
We were still talking on the phone 2 o'clock in the morning. We celebrated his birthday. I know I did that whole like, ooh, happy early birthday in case we're not together. Like we spent Thanksgiving together.
Ultimately, JR says that all through this time he was making it clear that they weren't together, and Zena says whatever he was doing, it was not making it clear.
For my birthday, he asked me if I would be open to dinner. Canceled the night of and never rescheduled. Now that I'm not delusionally in love anymore, I can see the red flags.
She then goes on to say that the day before filming began, she got screenshots of JR flirting with another woman, something he adamantly denied, so they went on to the show.
And he tried to gaslight me by saying that it was Photoshop.
I owned up to it.
Why would you do the same exact
messages
thing that
were
you were
Photoshopped.
upset?
Sure, Jan.
Oh, come on, not the Photoshop defense. And Zane's over here going, if you were so hurt by your ex-wife cheating on you, why were you then cheating on me? He, however, says that wasn't cheating cheating, but she calls it emotional cheating at minimum. And I mean, we haven't even gotten into the Sandy stuff yet.
You're a con artist. Everything that you said about your trial marriage with Sandy was a complete lie to me.
So primarily, she's talking about how he said he only kissed Sandy twice. Watching the show back, however, she saw more, but he also told Zena he was very much not into Sandy, and that was clearly not the case. She also discusses how her and Nick talked about the likelihood of Sandy and JR having had sex and lying about it, but Nick claims that the discussion was more of a worrisome thought in his head. However, he does believe that during the trial marriage, if Nick and Zena weren't in the picture, they definitely would have done it. As for JR's defense, here's what he has to say.
Nothing transpired past a kiss. Like,
and
that,
I forgot about the third kiss.
That is saying something. I told you about
the
third,
kiss.
Fifth.
Come on, bro. Come on. Man to man. Come on. Come on. Zena then gets upset with Sandy because she kept falsely reassuring her at that girls' night when Zena never asked for it. And speaking of the girls' and guys' night, we then get into the mystery of who told JR that Scotty said JR was here just for a hall pass. Because Zena's got the receipts and she's bringing them in a whole new way.
I have a chip on my nail.
What's
a QR code?
So I just have to do this.
Okay, this is taking the term nail tech to a whole new level.
I feel like this was JR's ploy to ruin our trial marriage, Scotty, and get into your head.
So out come the text between Zena and JR. And basically the reason she's bringing this up is that she wants to highlight a line where she says it wasn't Scotty, and Scotty wasn't speaking badly about JR. So she's wondering why JR, knowing it wasn't Scotty, then went and brought that heat to him at the guys' night. JR then says, well, how would that make you feel getting accused of all that? And then Nick Lachey's like, well, I don't need no QR code on my nails to bring the receipts on that one. Roll the footage.
Ain't no cameras in the room, like, let's do us. I'm not seeking, like, sex out of this experience, but I do like challenges. I like a good blowjob. I'll try to be on that vibe for 3 weeks. I got a whole pass.
Well, after seeing all that, suddenly Sandy's jumping from the JR ship and letting this man sink on his own.
And it's hurtful to hear you talk about things where it's like, you know, saying you want to give it a try, no strings attached.
But up next, they're bringing out one of the couples that left the show partway through. Micah and Chanel denied an invitation to come, but here are Dave and Vanessa. And Vanessa claims that there was a ton of stuff that Nick did that made her uncomfortable, so that's why she left. When asked about it, she doesn't want to say, but Nick comes out saying he was drinking a lot and was in a really bad place after hearing about JR and Sandy's kiss. He also claims to have shut Vanessa down when she was trying to help him, and he was also rude. But I mean, to leave without saying anything to Nick or to even production? Like, I'm not saying I don't believe her, but the complete ghosting of the show is a bit suspect. Now, it's also made clear that there was an order to the exits. Like, they didn't all coordinate at the same time this great escape from Ultimatum production. Vanessa did leave first, apparently because of Nick, which then started the domino effect of Dave wanting to go, and then Chanel and Micah. And no, Dave did not end up proposing as a result of this. During the filming of the reunion, these two weren't engaged, however, more recently, that changed. But I'm also gonna call it as I see it. Dave was skeezy on the show, seemed super excited to date someone else, found out he had negative riz and no one wanted him, and then came running back to Vanessa. Now finally we come to Sandy and Nick, where Nick claims that he wasn't actually going to propose at the end there. However, when he saw her reaction to him reaching into his pocket and the possibility of a proposal, he knew where she stood. He also says that he went to recovery and Sandy helped him with that for like the first week, but then she went off tripping and has been tripping and vacationing ever since. While Sandy claims that all the trauma didn't stop after the show, it's been for the past year. And when her and JR are asked if they've been in contact after the show, they say no and then are called out on that and say only once right after just to check on how the other was doing.
How
I
about
even
happy
told you.
holidays,
And
happy
I told
New
you
Year?
about that.
Yeah,
So
so why would
reached
you say
out.
no contact?
So who actually knows? But there you have it. The Ultimatum Season 3 is over, and all roads lead to heartbreak and ruin. Who would have guessed? I mean, at this point, if your partner ever asks you to go on the show, just know you're already cooked. Anyway, looking forward to Season 4, and, oh, of course, before we go, Nick just needs to remind us one last time of what he does for a living.
You gotta be careful when you fall in love with an artist. Like,
What was that? What do you do again? I wasn't listening.
I'm an artist. Welcome to the artist club.
Ah, right. So that's it for this recap of the Ultimatum Season 3 reunion. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed the video, make sure to give it a like, comment your thoughts down below, and subscribe to the channel for more content. And until next time, Bachelor Fantake out.
And I forgot about the third kiss.
That
I
is
swear
I
didn't
told
I
you
don't
about
even
the
remember
third
the third
kiss.
kiss.
Sure, Jan.